Alright everyone, welcome back to episode 2 of NFL QB Competition Breakdown, and obviously I am wearing this headset today. I don't have my normal mic as it broke, so I apologize for that. Sorry you guys have to deal with this. The sound quality might be a little different. Just hopefully you guys can bear with it, and yeah, thank you for all the patience. I'm going to get my mic back soon. But in this episode, we are going to do Mitch Trubisky versus Nick Foles and the Chicago Bears. And this is probably going to be the hardest one that I do, because I can genuinely see both quarterbacks starting week 1. And there's a lot I like about Trubisky, and there's a lot I like about Foles. So definitely going to talk to you guys about that. But what's different about this episode is I know in episode 1, I didn't include any game film. And I want to do that this episode. I want to actually have game film and show you guys where I'm coming from, because I know in the last episode I had, I said things that I didn't and did like about both quarterbacks, but I didn't really show you guys like what it looked like on the field. So I want to do that in this episode, and I want to actually show you guys some game film. So with that, let's get into the episode. Alright. So I want to start with Mitch Trubisky in this video. And Mitch Trubisky, it's been a weird career for Mitch Trubisky. I'm not going to say it was phenomenal by any means, but I'm also not going to say it was awful. So he was the second overall pick in 2017. And he was ahead of guys like Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson. And yeah, that was a bad decision, taking him at number 2 when you had those quarterbacks later on in the draft. But let's not forget, in 2018, he still led the Bears to a 12-4 record, and they were obviously a double doink away from going to the next round of the playoffs, and in my opinion, going to the NFC Championship. I had them going to the NFC Championship for my playoff predictions. So it just shows I was high on that Bears team, and yes, I guess you could say they probably would be NFC Championship Super Bowl contenders if they had like a Patrick Mahomes or even Deshaun Watson. But the fact of the matter is that Mitch Trubisky still led them to a 12-win season, and I think that we still have to give credit to him for that. And yeah, his first year in the league, his third year in the league was not by any means amazing, but it wasn't awful per se. So here's what I want to show you from Mitch Trubisky and what I like about his game. So what I really like about Trubisky's game is his mobility and how he's able to just move around in the pocket or simply scramble for a first down. So obviously in this play, you have the Green Bay defense stack the line, and they're going to bring about 6, and the linebackers could obviously move up. But in this play, Trubisky recognizes that he's going to have a lot of pressure on him, so he has 2 decisions he has to make. He's got to get the ball off his hands super fast, and a cool stat about Trubisky is when he gets the ball off his hands in less than 2.5 seconds, he has a QBR of 96.0, which obviously shows the quicker he gets the ball off his hands, the more success he has, and that applies to most quarterbacks. So he can either get the ball off his hands super fast, or he can scramble for this first down, and that's what he's going to do. So obviously, like I said, the Green Bay defense, they're going to blitz, they're going to bring a lot of pressure, even though the 2 are going to drop off. So they drop off, and a great job by the Chicago O-line to open up this hole for Mitch Trubisky. And when you're looking at the receiving core, there's obviously not a lot of players he could throw to. So it's good on his part that he recognizes that instead of making a tough throw. So he's going to step up. He's simply just going to rush for the first down. And I love that play from Trubisky because he's not forcing something he knows that will not occur. Instead, he's just going to rush for the first down, use his legs to his advantage, and he's going to get the first down for the Chicago Bears. So what I don't really like about Trubisky's game is he's just simply inaccurate at times. And most of the time, if you watch Trubisky play, he throws like a 5-yard curl route or like a check down. Not really he doesn't have a lot of throws where you're like, wow, that was a great throw. And that's not always bad. But when you're forced to make a tough throw or like an out route that's 15 yards, which is going to happen in this play, there's many times where he simply can't make the throw. So not really much I can say about this offense right now. I think it's a 2 tight end set. But look at this throw that's going to happen from Mitch Trubisky, and it's just not good. He's obviously open. You just simply have to make that throw, in my opinion, if you want to be an NFL starting quarterback, and he just doesn't make that throw. And I don't want to just simply use one play to hold against Trubisky, but the narrative is, if you go and watch many clips from Mitch Trubisky, he's going to miss a lot of receivers when he's having to make these tough throws. And, you know, it runs the question on, is he capable of being the Chicago Bears starting quarterback if he's not capable of making these types of throws? So all in all, here's what I want to say about Mitch Trubisky. When he uses his legs and when he's showing off his mobility, that's where he finds success. That's where I look at him and I'm like, you're a good quarterback. But there are many times where, like I pointed out in the last clip, where he simply just can't make the throw. And there's going to be a lot of times where he throws, like I said, simple passes, checkdowns, etc. And you're like, okay, that's fine. But when it's having to make a very tough throw, most of the times you're like, I don't know if he can make it. And what I want to say is, there are clips where he does make a good throw. I'm not just saying he only makes bad throws. Like, I could show you guys film where I'm like, okay, that's a good throw. I'm just saying, though, for the most part, you're going to look at Trubisky and you're going to realize that he's a very conservative quarterback. He doesn't like to go for the deep ball, which is not always bad, but that's what I see from Mitch Trubisky. And one other thing I want to add is, he doesn't really have a history of winning, and that's not bad. This is not supposed to be anything against Trubisky. I'm just saying, when comparing him to Nick Foles, I know he was a backup, but he went to a Super Bowl. He won the Super Bowl against the Patriots. Trubisky's never won a playoff game yet, and like I said, it's not that big of a deal. I just wanted to throw out that and mention that, though. So let's talk a little bit about Nick Foles. And Nick Foles, for most of his career, has been a backup. Obviously, was the backup in Philadelphia under Carson Wentz. He came in, though, and obviously won a Super Bowl, and then the next season lost, though, eventually to the New Orleans Saints in the playoffs. But he did very well as a backup, and was probably the best backup in the league for his time in Philadelphia. And obviously, that was rewarded where he got paid a 4-year, $88 million contract for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He'd be the next quarterback there. And last year was his first year there, and he got injured the first game of the season against the Kansas City Chiefs, and that's kind of where Gardner Minshew came in and really impressed, and he was obviously awarded the starting job and is now the starting quarterback for the Jacksonville Jaguars. It makes a lot of sense coming from a financial standpoint to rock with the rookie QB when he's basically putting up similar or better stats than Foles was. So Foles, though, he is now getting a new shot. Obviously, Jacksonville didn't work out. He's getting a new shot in Chicago, and a lot of people like that because he was the backup for Kansas City when Matt Nagy was the offensive coordinator for Kansas City, and now he's kind of in that same playbook, in that same kind of offensive style with Nagy being the head coach of the Chicago Bears. So I like the trade because it really only cost you a 4th rounder. They traded a 4th rounder to the Jacksonville Jaguars for Foles, and they restructured his deal. Obviously, it's still not the best contract in the world, but it's a lot better than him making $22 million a year. So Nick Foles is going to have an opportunity to come in and win the starting job, and that's kind of why they didn't pick up Trubisky's 5th-year option, because if Foles impresses this year, there's no reason in sticking with Trubisky, and they're going to rock with Foles. And I do think there's a good chance that Foles will come in and impress. I don't know if he's going to start week 1, though. I do think it's going to be Trubisky. I'll get into that later, though. But here's what I do like and what I don't like about Nick Foles' game. So here is one thing I really, really like about Nick Foles' game is his deep ball is really good. And you're going to see this against the Kansas City Chiefs also in week 1 of the 2019 NFL season. And this isn't a diss against Trubisky, but this is what you're not going to get from Mitch Trubisky. And it's Foles' capability of throwing the deep ball. And let's just look at this play. You're going to see in this clip that the Kansas City Chiefs are going to bring a little bit of pressure, but when he throws this ball, he has 2 guys right in his face, and that's what I really think that this throw is super impressive. And if you look on the bottom of your screen, DJ Chark is going to make a phenomenal route, and he's going to keep going to the end zone, and it's a perfect throw, perfect placement by Nick Foles. And it's just like an arch. It's like a rainbow that just dumps to DJ Chark, and what a phenomenal throw by Nick Foles. And obviously, it's a touchdown. That's what you're going to get from Nick Foles next year. He's not going to be afraid to sling it, and that can be bad. That can be bad, but it can also be good, so I want to talk about that. But perfect throw by Nick Foles, and that's what you can get from him next year in the Chicago Bears uniform. So the thing with Nick Foles, and I know I just talked about this, but his deep ball, and Like I said, there are going to be times where it pays off. That throw to DJ Chark was incredible. But there are some instances when you are throwing deep that it's just not going to go in your favor. And you're going to see a lot of games from Nick Foles where he's going to throw a couple picks a game, because that's just the way he plays quarterback. So in this clip against the New Orleans Saints, and in all honesty, before I start the clip, it is not a bad ball to throw. The receiver's open. It's just not a great throw by Nick Foles. So obviously the play is going to develop. He's going to go deep. And like I said, he's open. If you just throw that a little in front of him, it is probably a touchdown. But in this clip, it's a little underthrown. It gets picked off. An incredible play by the Saints defense, by the way, and Marshawn Lattimore. But what the whole point was, if he's going to take a shot downfield, you got to put it in front of him, because that is capable of being a touchdown. It's a little underthrown, and as a result, it's an interception. So you can't, with Foles, have this Foles where he's taking a shot downfield and it's just not successful. So here are my final thoughts. I think that Mitch Trubisky should start week 1. And big reasoning for that is he's been under Nagy's system for 3 years. He's going into his 4th year. He obviously has more experience in this offense than Nick Foles, regardless of Foles playing under Nagy in Kansas City. Trubisky's just been the guy for 3 years, and I think they're going to rock with him week 1. And I agree with that, but don't be afraid, if you're the Bears, to put in Nick Foles if Trubisky's not playing well, because people forget. Last year, there were rumors that Nagy had enough of Trubisky. Obviously, the fans were wanting Mitch out of Chicago. It was just bad. And if that is occurring again, don't be afraid to put in Foles, because Foles has proven time after time that he can come in and save a season. He can come in and play well as a backup. He's proven that if things aren't going well, he's more than capable of coming in and playing very good football. So I think that the Bears can't be afraid of allowing Foles to come in. But I do think, like I said, that Trubisky will come in, or not come in. We'll start week 1, and if necessary, Foles will come in through the season. But if Trubisky's playing well, like he did his sophomore year with the Bears, you don't really need Foles per se. It's all Trubisky's job to lose, in my opinion. So that's going to do it for episode 2. Thank you guys for watching NFL QB Breakdown episode 2 with obviously the Bears, with Mitch Trubisky and Nick Foles. Make sure you guys comment which team and which quarterbacks you want to see next. Make sure you guys subscribe. Like I said, we're pushing for 1K. We really appreciate the support, and make sure you guys follow us on Instagram at allsportsculture. That's going to do it, and I will catch you guys next time.